Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and should we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we'll be relaxing as per usual, carrying on with conversations about the holiday. To be perfectly, well, I don't know what I was going to say. To be perfectly honest, that doesn't really make sense here, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So I suppose what's the next most appropriate thing to talk about? Santa's village, maybe. If you don't know, I've come back from being on holiday on Sunday from Lapland with a few friends. But good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:09 PM on Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. So yeah, it was basically predominantly a skiing, snowboarding sort of holiday, but that was only 2 days out of a 6. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday wasn't really a full day, I guess. So 5 days kind of we were there for. So on the Thursday, actually, what happens when we landed is we stayed in one place nearer the airport before driving up the next day to the ski resort. But the place that we stayed in was in, I think it's called Rovaniemi. Hold on, let me see. Finland, Rovaniemi. Apologies, I know essentially no Finnish, and by essentially I mean I don't know any Finnish. So I'm not really sure how to pronounce it properly. But that's in Lapland, which is like a region in Finland, which is reasonably cold and reasonably north, but also more famously known for the fact of it being where Santa lives. Well, theoretically, I'm not actually sure why that's the case, because at least when I was growing up, I always thought Santa lived in the Arctic Circle, or like in the North Pole itself. But then it wasn't until like primary school where a friend was like, oh, he went to Lapland, and I was like, what's Lapland? And he was like, that's where Santa lives, and I was like, what's that? I was like, I didn't know Santa lived in Lapland. So for a long while, I thought Lapland was on the North Pole. But no, it's in Finland, so I don't know. I've got to assume it's some crazy marketing thing, which has been very, very successful, and honestly, fantastic. Maybe case study in how to attract tourism to an area. I'm not sure. Let's see, actually. Lapland, Wikipedia. It's the northernmost region in Finland. So why is this known for Santa Claus? Economy. I've got to assume it's tourism. But anyway, Santa. Lapland has been connected to the legendary North Pole home of Santa Claus since 1927, when Finnish radio host Markus Rausio said that Santa Claus lived on Korvetunturi, a fell in the region. Later, Rovaniemi staked a claim as Santa's official hometown. Yeah, so apparently it just happened in 1927. A radio host was like, oh yeah, he lives here. And then it just resulted in a lot of tourism. That's crazy. Yeah, because I mean, it always very much struck me as, at least the idea of it, ever since like finding out from my friend back in primary school. I was like, I don't really understand why Santa lives here, because I swear all the things that just like he lives on the North Pole. Like, why is he living in like a random region in Finland? Anyway, that's not really for me to judge necessarily. Long and short is we went to Santa's village in March. Unsurprisingly, it's rather Christmas themed, I would say, all year round. Seeing as it being around Santa, it would be pretty crazy if they were just like, oh, you know, let's not, I suppose, capitalize on this tourism opportunity, and just being like, oh yeah, let's I don't know, not celebrate Santa when it's not Christmas. Is there a rule for that? I don't know. So yeah, we went to Santa's village. How's my overall review on it? I would assume it's probably a lot better during Christmas time, and I would assume it's a lot better if you have children. Like it's a sort of like family location. I would say, at least for us, like a group of young adults, it was okay. I don't think it was anything crazy though. It was kind of mostly just like a lot of stores, like a lot of like souvenir shops, really, and I do like shopping, but of course this isn't necessarily the type of shopping I'd usually like. Normally I like clothes shopping, I suppose, if anything. But I think it had like a nice vibe to it, and I think it would be a lot even more of a festive vibe. Like the festive atmosphere would be sort of like in full swing if you went during Christmas. I must imagine though it's prohibitively expensive to go during that time, so that's kind of the price you pay. But yeah, I mean, it does feel like magical in the sense that it's something which, you know, at least in Lapland, it's basically snowy all year round. Well, actually, I don't know if that's necessarily true during summer, but at least it was during March. It's completely like covered in white, which is not common, at least in the UK. So being able to see something like that was, well, pretty cool, I guess. Sorry, a little pause. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see a very different environment, I would say. Snow in the UK, at least, it's something which we do get here and there in the winter times, but some years we just won't get any snow, at least in England. If you go up north to Scotland, you're much more likely to get it, but still, it was very interesting for it to just be the sort of like permanently snowy, also very cold. So it does very much fit the vibe, I think, of a Santa village. It's a lot of like a collection of very red huts, and I can't help you can't help but sort of walk into it, and at least my initial reaction is like, wow, they really like capitalize on this tourism aspect of being Santa's village more so than anything else. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I'm not going to criticize it for doing that, because of course, like, why not? If you have the opportunity to do, it's, you know, it's a great way to contribute to the local economy, I suppose, through one way or another. But yeah, like you walk in, there's like little mail vans or whatever, or like Santa's like face on the side being like Santa's courier service or something. I can't remember exactly what the wording or phrasing or whatever was. I mean, you go to like all these, there's like these different huts. Like half of the buildings were restaurants, which was interesting, I think, in its own right. And that's basically the first thing we did, is we sat down at a restaurant to eat, and that's when I first had some reindeer. It was a very cute sort of small place, to be honest. There's 8 of us both, so it was quite difficult. So we split up into 2 groups of 4, and there was an interesting sort of like assortment of meals. But it was very nice and cozy. It was like basically a wooden sort of like octagonal cabin is maybe how I describe it. They had like sort of fake birds, but they really like their fake taxidermy birds in restaurants, might I add, sort of suspended in wires. I'm not really sure why, but you do you, I guess. But yeah, they had like this big sort of like fire in the middle, so it felt very sort of cozy, is perhaps what I describe it as. And that's also where I had sautéed reindeer. The first time I had reindeer. There was some other meals as well, like someone had like a salmon soup. There was like this overcooked pork, which was pretty good as well. I can't remember what else that was, but anyway, I had this sautéed reindeer. How was it? Totally fine, I would say. And if anything, I suppose it was an interesting sort of contrasting feeling, because like we had to walk past like a load of reindeer to even get into the restaurant in the first place. Like you walk past a load of reindeer, like you could sit in a sled and be pulled along by reindeers, and then you cross like a bridge and you go into a restaurant, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting, to say the least. So it gives off an interesting sort of I'm not sure dichotomy is the right word, but sort of being like, oh, hi reindeer, and then immediately you're being served up in a restaurant. Probably not these reindeers, I'd imagine, but yeah. So after that, we finished eating. Excuse me, drink some water. We didn't go on a reindeer sled ride. Mainly because it was very expensive and also not that crazy long. So whatever, we went to souvenir shopping. Unsurprisingly, the first place we went to had a lot of Christmas related things. And I must say, it is very weird shopping around for Christmas merchandise when it's not Christmas. Because it's sort of like, well, what am I going to buy? I don't know. But of course, me having my sights on a plushie, as the case may be, I used to try and sort of do a thing where I'd be like, I'll try and buy whatever the national animal is of that country, but you know, that hasn't always held up for ages now, so now I just kind of buy something which is at least representative of a country. And we had a very cute plushie there, which was like huskies. And I completely forgot that in the first store there was like something which was like, I'm very considering buying it, because it was basically a mama husky, and she had like a baby husky like held in the mouth, and I was like, that's really cute. It was really expensive though, from what I remember. Anyway, I think it was actually kind of cool, like going around and shopping, because there was a lot of like cool little stores. Like the next store we went into was like a craft store, I suppose. I bought like this little reindeer. I don't know what it is. I think it's over there on my shelf right now. Which was made out of like a very pretty looking stone, and I was like, that's kind of cool. And there was a lot of like jewelry and accessories around there as well, which, you know, I've certainly got my eye on more nowadays, to be like, oh yeah, let's get a little bit more fashionable, I suppose, in one sense or another. Yeah, so it was a craft store. What else was there? I think that craft store also had like a very cool mug, which I was tempted to buy, but then I was also like, I'm pretty sure I can just buy this online. This isn't particularly like finished, but it had like this design of a fox on it, and then like the fox tail was the handle of a mug, and I was like, that's pretty cool. But I did search it up, and you could just buy it online, so I was like, okay, there's no point buying it here. Fox mug. Let's see if I can find it again. Oh yeah, the Relost Fox mug, that was it. But to be fair, it wasn't this design printed on the mug, it was a different fox, which had like a flower crown on it. So I guess maybe it was slightly unique, who knows. Anyway, I thought it was clever, but also I didn't end up buying it. There was also like some other cool like post office stores where you could send letters that would get delivered to you like on Christmas or whatever. I can't imagine the logistics required for that, to make sure that they get perfectly delivered on Christmas Day itself. Because I remember you could like fill out a postcard, and there was 2 post boxes, one which you can send like as soon as possible to wherever you want to send it to, and then the other would be like send it on Christmas. And I was thinking, like, how could you even do this? Because surely you must get like millions of letters or something every year. How on earth do you even possibly coordinate all of that? But I don't know, they've probably got a business out of it somehow or another, so I guess they've worked it out. Santa doesn't fail. But yeah, we walked around. What else was there? There was a knife store. That was actually quite an interesting one, with lots of different types of knives. And you might be like, what, like hunting knives? Yes, there were hunting knives, but it was also like these wooden knives as well, which I think was for like butter. Mainly, because at least we went to a restaurant and they gave us like butter and bread, and it had that sort of wooden knife, and I was like, oh, interesting. But yeah, then we sort of split up and went to different places. I don't remember what this store is. It was just some sort of like general merch store with like generic toys, I think, which now I think about it makes sense, because it's probably like a Santa's workshop sort of thing, making the toys. We went to a Moomin store, which is if you don't know, it's what's the word? Sorry, like a Finnish mascot sort of thing. I'm not really sure what I describe Moomin as. Kind of looks like a hippo, maybe. I'm not sure what Moomin particularly is. But yeah, I bought there. I've discovered there's a character called Sniff there, which I thought was a very funny name, but I liked their design, so I bought a little plushie of them, because I was like, I should get something Moomin related. But then I saw the Sniff plushie, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this guy instead. Who's this guy? Don't know. I know very little about Moomin, and by very little I mean I don't know anything about Moomin. So yeah, I bought that. Did I buy anything else from that? I think the other stuff I bought later on. I didn't actually buy too many souvenirs, maybe like 4 or 5-ish. Oh no, I bought a reindeer as well from the Santa's workshop, because it has like a little harness on it which says like the Arctic Circle or something, and I was like, I want to buy something which is representative of Santa's village. But it's a little bit difficult because this is a thing which happens with all the plushies, is they love just doing generic plushies like a normal teddy bear and then giving it like a t-shirt or something which is related to the area. And I'm like, I don't want something like that. I want something which is more ingrained within the design of a plushie. I don't want just like a random plushie with an association of an accessory for the place I'm in. I want something which the plushie was clearly designed with this place in mind. So I think the Santa's reindeer did pretty well with like the sort of like embroidery on the harness itself, because I don't know, I guess I do imagine Santa's reindeers wearing harnesses like a horse would to be able to pull the sleigh. I guess if it's magical they don't really need to, but who am I to judge for that? Anyway, so yeah, I guess I did do a decent amount of shopping. Because that I didn't buy there, that I also didn't buy there. So 3 out of 5 souvenirs I ended up buying were from that place. I don't know what that necessarily says about me, or doesn't say about me, but there you go. Overall, Santa's Village, I think it would be nicer with a family. I think kids would certainly get a lot more excited. I didn't actually go meet Santa. I know some people did. They actually like queued up for Santa and then I think got a picture with him. I think that's probably very exciting as a child. I remember as a child I never was particularly excited to go visit Santa in the first place, to be honest, which probably doesn't surprise you in the slightest. But like I remember like our primary school would always like hire someone to come in and be Santa, and I always did not understand it because obviously I did not believe in Santa. So I was like, why are we just doing this with some random guy? But I was like, whatever, I'll do it anyway. I remember I always asked for video games whenever I went to visit Santa, this fictional Santa. Yeah, I don't know, what else do I want to say about Santa's Village? I'm not sure. It just kind of surprised. It basically felt like a shopping centre. But a Santa-themed shopping centre, which is rather niche and outside of the festive season. Probably isn't as quite widely applicable as you think. But anyway, I think I'm going to round this episode up here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. Until next time. Bye bye for now.